And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fleming Film Show with me, Robbie Fleming. Join me as always is Justin Doyle. I got your name right this time. Hello, Justin.
Hey Rob, what's going on?
Not much, Justin. Today we have a returning guest, Mr. Cody House. I invited him on here because I know he loves British culture, and I thought he would have five British comedy films, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Because the Fisherman's Friend sequel is out in the UK already, so I thought British comedy movies must have been spoken about today.
What
It's
is
out here too.
what is it?
British comedy films.
No, the
No, the
movie.
Fisherman.
Oh, Fisherman's Friends. If there's a 2019 movie called Fisherman's Friends, it's based on a folk act that sings sea shanties, and this is the first one's about how they like assemble, and this new one that came out that I saw at the weekend is about how they struggle with their fame and how they got to go to perform at Glastonbury Festival.
Okay.
Fisherman's Friends, one and all is the name
Yeah,
of
so
it.
you guys might know the lead actor. His name's James Porfoy.
Oh yeah. He's on a really good show I liked called Happen Leonard, where he actually plays a Texan, but he was originally supposed to be V before he quit the movie.
Yes, I heard about that. Apparently in the first scene, you can see him in the suit.
I don't know him.
Yeah,
Well,
Uh
did you like the movie?
yeah. I like the second one more than the first one. It really shows like their struggle because they're normal fishermen, and now they're like famous singers. They're kind of struggling to balance out the fame in their day to day lives as fishermen.
This sounds like a
It's
for your
based on a true,
consideration type movie
it's based on a true story that the
or a
Fisherman's
mighty
Friend were a
win.
real band.
oh, you think it sounds like a Christopher Guest mockumentary type of movie?
Yes,
It's not a mockumentary.
but it's yeah, it sounds like sort of similar idea.
Yes.
Cool. Well,
Cody will know one of the actors from Doctor Who. It's Noel Clark. He's in the first one.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. I thought he
Yeah.
was canceled.
Apparently, he was proven innocent in the end.
Oh, well that's I guess good for him.
Yes.
Um I guess. I
uh,
I don't
Yeah.
know the victims' stories, but because that could
Yes.
be bad for them. But
Yes.
enough about that.
Since I'm the only British person here, do you mind if I go first?
No, that's probably only fair by manners and everything. You're probably more of an expert on this than us, dumb Americans.
No, you have great comedy movies as well. To be fair, Cody.
Uh, we've
does
we've done a few good ones.
Yes.
All right, I'm changing mine.
So you guys ready for my number five?
Do it.
So my list could not be incomplete without a rom-com starring Hugh Grant. I could have picked
Uh,
loads of rom-coms for this at the ones I like. I like About a Boy. I
mm-hmm.
like Love Actually.
Mm-hmm.
But the one I'm going to go with is the one that made his career. It's one of
Ah.
my favorite romantic. It's my favorite romantic comedy of all time. It's a massive cast. Christian Scott Thomas is in this movie. Andy McDowell, John Hannah, and Mr. Rowan Atkinson. It's Four Weddings and a Funeral.
I actually just watched this for the first time for this show because I'm like, oh, this is a movie I should have seen already because I've seen all of the other Richard Curtis romantic comedies that he's written. And yeah, I could see, it not only gave birth to his career, but I guess it kind of made Hugh Grant a huge star, right?
Yes, yes. This is about four weddings and the one funeral of their friends. You see the three weddings first, then the funeral, then the last wedding. This is just a really nice, charming British movie with lots of funny jokes, and that folk couple I would never hire at my wedding. Did you have one at your wedding, Cody? A folk couple?
No. No, we didn't
If
have
you were
that.
to get married, Justin, would you get a folk couple?
Definitely not.
Yeah, and obviously Rowan Atkinson. Obviously, he's a good friend of Richard Curtis, as they've written like loads of comedy shows together. So he had to be in this movie. And his scene, he's the vicar of the second wedding, and he is just hilarious as he keeps
Yeah,
forgetting his
that's
lines.
pretty great when he keeps saying the wrong things.
Yeah. But yeah, this is just a nice, charming British movie that's really, really fun to watch. And I highly recommend you guys check this out. Have you seen this film before, Justin?
I have not, and I should have. But that's why my list is kind of shite, is because there's a lot of these British comedies I haven't seen, and yeah, I mean, a lot of them are earlier. None of them are late. Early '90s and late '90s and beyond, because I just don't know him.
You know who Hugh Grant is, don't you?
No, I do. Yeah. I love Hugh Grant.
You know who Rowan Atkinson is, don't you?
Yeah, of course. I know the people. I know who Annie McDowell is. I know Kristen Scott Thomas, John Hannah. I know these people.
I'm assuming you did because they've done American films as well.
Most likely. Most likely. Did you end up liking it, Cody, when you saw it? I should have watched it.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I think I like About Time is probably my favorite Richard Curtis movie.
That's a great
I
movie.
need to see
And
that one too.
I think I prefer Notting Hill over this film. And I love About a Boy, which is probably my favorite Hugh Grant movie. Though I think Hugh Grant's best role is Paddington 2.
Definitely.
He's great in that.
Oh, he is. He's fantastic in that.
Four Weddings and a Funeral had a budget of $4.4 million. Worldwide gross was $245.7 million. IMDb rating of 7.1. Rotten Tomatoes gives it 96% with a 74% audience.
Nice.
Sounds like a winner in my book.
It's a big winner. It's a massive winner. So, Cody, since you're the special guest, you can tell us your number 5, and then we'll go to Justin and go that way round.
So, you guys might nitpick at this choice and say it's not really a comedy because it's an animated film. But I felt like this is a very British company, and they are very famous for quality animation. I kind of went back and forth between two movies. I think I prefer the movie that's not going to be on this list, but I felt like I couldn't ignore these characters because they're considered British institutions. And I remember hearing one time when they left the puppets in a cab somewhere in another country that it almost caused an international crisis because these two characters are so beloved in the UK. But I had to go with Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit, because I feel like Wallace and Gromit are as institutional in your country as much as the Beatles or Charles Dickens are.
Yes, and it counts as a comedy as well.
Oh yeah, totally. This is on my also rants. It almost made my list.
So the other movie I was considering was Chicken Run, but I felt like Wallace and Gromit was more British than Chicken Run.
Yeah.
Even though Chicken Run might be a better Aardman film than the Were-Rabbit, but
no, I prefer the Were-Rabbit to Chicken Run. I know other people that prefer Chicken Run, but I prefer to guess the Were-Rabbit.
Yeah, so tell us about the Were-Rabbit.
I mean, these were beloved characters in animated shorts from Aardman, and they decided to make a feature-length movie, which, they're a great comedy duo, Wallace and Gromit, and you get to see them in action, and we get really good voice performances from great British actors like Ralph Fiennes and Helena Bonham Carter.
And Peter Sallis, who plays Wallace.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a fun movie for the whole family, and you can watch it every year around Halloween time.
Ooh.
Nominated for Best Animated Feature.
Oh, it won Best
Or
Animated
one for
Feature.
Best
Yes,
Animated
we've
Feature, yeah.
spoken about this film a couple of times before, Justin.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and deserved. So good pick.
Yes, great.
Let's see, it's run down here. 7.5 on IMDb, a little bit higher than the last movie. Budget of 30 million, worldwide grosses 194 million,
Not
and
bad.
Rotten, yeah, pretty good. Rotten Tomatoes gives it 95%, audience score 79.
Ooh. Did I?
Right.
I think I've told Justin this, but I didn't. I don't think Cody knows this. When the day it was first released, the factory burnt down,
Oh wow!
and
With
the
all
only
the
thing that survived was Wallace and Gromit.
well, there you go. They were the only
Dick
two
Barton
puppets
was
that
taking them on a
survived.
world tour.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty.
it's like
Pretty sad.
Universal's. It's like Universal losing part of its wing, like a decade ago. All right, here we go with my number 5. Probably on your guys' list, I would guess. This is my most British of British comedy movies that there is on my list. And it's because just like Wallace and Gromit, I think this group is very, very popular in your area. And if you have the words Monty Python in front of anything, you know what you're getting. And my favorite, and I think it's the only one I've seen, is And the Holy Grail. So that is my number 5 is Monty Python and the Holy
That's
Grail.
on my list later on, but tell us
Yeah.
your opinions on
I
it.
I said at the beginning, it's like I only assume it's on your guys' list, but yeah, I have it here at number 5, just because I haven't seen it that much. You know, when I was a kid, it would be on, and every once in a while, and we'd sit and watch like some scenes. But I finally sat down and watched it all. You know, probably like 5-6 years ago, and it was great. It was exactly what it's known for. Everything was in place. Everything seemed right. That it's just a wacky, weird movie that kind of really doesn't make any sense, but it's fun, and there's these gags and these skits in it that just really are funny and really make you laugh out loud. But it's definitely silly, and it's not in my top 5 for 10 or 20 comedies of all time, just because of probably how silly it is. But it's definitely a lot of fun. And it was the first movie that I thought of when this topic came up, because of the lore of it and how it really does fit into the pantheon that is the comedy world in movies. So my number 5 is Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Great choice.
Have you guys seen the other of these movies, the Monty Python ones?
Yes,
Yes.
you'd
Brian,
like
Life of Brian.
Life of Brian, but Meaning of Life, you'll be like weirded out over.
Yeah, Meaning of Life is very much more like their TV show, but rated R.
And weird.
Yeah. And Life of Brian is similar to Holy Grail, except that, it's a much more controversial subject matter that they're playing with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's meant to be a parody of Jesus.
Hilarious. Yeah, John Cleese is amazing, and since we'll talk about it later, I'll give the rundown then.
Lovely. So you're ready for my number 4?
Hit me.
My number 4, obviously, was a movie that appeared on the Video Store Rejects. It was released yesterday, I think, on that day. It's Guy Ritchie Snatch.
Yep.
Tell us about Snatch.
So Jason Statham and Stephen Graham are these two boxing promoters. They're trying to get out of this debt with this big top gangster, and they're trying to find fighter because they're trying to find a fighter, and they manage to find this Irish gypsy played by Brad Pitt to fight their match, so then they can clear off their debt. Also, there's a jewelry heist going on in London as well at the same time. That's committed by Benicio del Toro, and obviously the plot lines all linked together, and Jason Statham and Stephen Graham just kind of get caught up in the middle of it.
Yeah, it's probably still my favorite Guy Ritchie movie, and
It's his masterpiece.
I don't know how this feels for my taste, maybe because I'm American, but I feel like Brad Pitt steals the show in this movie.
Oh, he does. He does. He does.
Yeah.
It's weird how well he puts on the accent of the traveler.
There's a lot of Guy Ritchie movies that could be on this list. I mean, The Gentleman was really good. That could be on.
Well, The Gentleman and obviously Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrel. But
Lock,
I always see snatches he had more of a budget with, as well as the right screenplay. Like he's a fantastic writer. He just needs the budget to be with him when he makes all these movies.
Like Aladdin?
I don't think he wrote Aladdin.
That's probably his biggest budget he's ever had.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He does a better job of making Disney remakes than Jon Favreau does.
Interesting.
I would say I like Aladdin over The Lion King if I had to choose. I mean, they're both not very good, though.
Yeah, it's just because it's like shot for shot, right? We've seen it. Yeah. At least Aladdin's a little bit different.
Just a tad.
Just a tad. I mean, there's not a lot of slow-mo falling off of a tall building. 8.3 on IMDb for Snatch. It had a euro budget of 6 million. Worldwide gross is 83.5, and Rotten Tomatoes gives it 74%, but audience a whopping 93.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, you two know how much I love this movie.
Yeah. Snatch.
Yes.
What's your number 4, Code?
All right, my number 4 is a bit of an older movie. It's probably the best post-Python-esque film made by members of the Mighty Python. It's got 2 of them, and one of them was also the co-writers of the screenplay, besides being one of the stars of the film, probably the biggest Python star, probably one of the biggest British comedians of all time, but it also has 2 Americans in the film.
Yeah,
Jamie Lee Curtis and an Academy Award-winning performance by Kevin Kline, though I would argue Michael Palin steals the show in this movie, but it's A Fish Called Wanda.
Yes, I had a feeling this would be on somebody's list. Yeah, I'm not big on Kevin Kline's performance in that film. I find him really annoying in that movie. I don't know how he won the Oscar.
I don't know. That's what my wife said, too, because she watched it for the first time with me this weekend, and she's like, well, Michael Palin should have got the Oscar because he was hilarious.
He won the BAFTA, Palin did.
Oh, well, there you go. That's where the justice is. But, yeah, this is just a very fun, very Python-esque movie, and John Cleese he's a rock star.
Although I feel like it's shot like a TV show.
It does have a bit of a TV show as far as the camera goes, but the comedy is just gold, especially all the stuff with Palin and the situational stuff between Cleese and Jamie Lee Curtis constantly trying to double cross everybody. Yeah, it's just great top-notch British humor.
And Jamie Lee Curtis is great at it, as always.
And the actress playing John Cleese's wife is also hilarious, and his daughter, like, all that stuff is great.
It's funny when he shows up in the house naked.
Yes. Though that is a very nice flat, I would say.
It's a very nice flat. Have you seen this one, Justin?
No. I saw it on a bunch of
Wait,
lists.
you love the Oscars. This is an Oscar-winning movie. How have you not seen it?
1988, though.
Exactly.
You were alive, though.
You were alive.
No, I know.
Your favorite movie of all time.
Well, you brought up Oscars, and the Oscars for me didn't like probably year 2000 is when I started to pay attention to them like religiously. So yeah, I've missed a lot of Best Picture nominated movies, supporting actors, best actors. Yeah, and actresses. I should do that because I watched Of Monsters and Men, the Ian McKellen one that he won.
Gods and
supporting actor.
Monsters?
Yeah.
That's
I've always
such a
wanted to
good
watch
movie.
That was really good, and I watched it for whoever won the supporting role, like that year. Yeah, I just need to go back further in the Oscar universe, but yeah, I know.
Can you
I
do
know
me a
he
favor,
won.
Justin? Can you check who else was nominated that year? Klein won.
1989.
Yes, because I don't know why, but I don't
Supporting
think my favourite performance from that year was nominated, and that was Alan Rickman for Die Hard.
No, Alan Rickman, I don't think was ever nominated for an Oscar, which is a shame.
And Die
We
Hard should
have
have been the one he won for.
Dean Stockwell for Married to the Mob.
That's a better performance.
Martin Landau for Tucker, the Man in His Dream. Never even heard of it.
Haven't seen that.
River Phoenix, Running on Empty, and
I hear
Alec
that's a great
Guinness for Little Dorit.
I don't know that movie, but I guess that's a
That's
later
based
Guinness
on
role.
a Dickens book.
But he already had an Oscar at that point. Because
Alec Guinness, yeah.
He's Alan friggin' Guinness.
Yeah.
Have you seen Fierce Creatures, Robbie? It's the same cast.
No, I heard it was about zookeepers, so
yeah.
I want to see what that's like.
All right. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Oh wait. Let's see. Fish Called Wanda, 7.5 on IMDb. 7.5 million was its budget. 62 million was its worldwide gross, and 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, 84% audience score.
Nice.
All right, my number 4 is something that I've talked about before, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but not only is it great comedy thanks to the director and writer for this film, but it has great sports humor in it, and that sport is wrestling, and have number 4 is Fighting with My Family back on my list. Stephen Merchant's scene in this movie, he actually acts in it at the table with the family, is just classic comedy, laugh out loud moments, and it's just hilarious. And half of this movie is set in the United Kingdom over there, and then she travels to the States because she wants to be a wrestler. This is where we got our first taste of Florence Pugh. Also Lena Headey's in this movie, Vince Vaughn, Nick Frost, and of course The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. This is a biopic about the wrestler Paige. She's from the UK. She comes over to WWE to try to make it as a wrestler and ends up winning the Divas Championship on her first match in the WWE. It's a lot of fun. It's great to see wrestling behind the scenes, but Stephen Merchant is definitely a great writer, and he knows his comedy, even his drama he knows really well, and it's a great mix of both in Fighting with My Family.
Yes.
It's a fun movie. It's got really good performances, and this was I know she was critically acclaimed in a movie called Lady Macbeth, which I've never seen, but this was kind of like the beginning for like really American audiences to notice Florence Pugh, because She had a really good year that year because that's also the
Was-
same year as
Did that come out before Midsummer and Little Women?
Little Women. Yes, but that's all in the same year. That's 1 year. Yeah.
I can't wait to see
Yep.
Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh yeah, that looks really good. And
I am really excited about that. And yeah, period piece, Florence Pugh.
It
I'm
looks
in.
like from the trailers that there's something bigger on the outside.
yeah, it definitely has a very Stepford Wives feel, Twilight Zone type of
I was
vibe
thinking
going
more
on.
like
Okay, take it
Truman Show
easy over there,
makeup.
friends.
That's
I
what I
don't
think.
need any spoilers.
Very excited.
I've not seen the movie yet.
It's very exciting
Well,
to see what Olivia Wilde does as a director with her second feature.
if you guys put something in my brain and then I'm sitting there watching the movie, I'm in it, that, and I'll be like, oh, there it is. That's what they said. Spoiler. 7.1 on IMDb. It's $11 million budget. Worldwide gross was 40.8. And Rotten Tomatoes gives Fighting with My Family 93%, 86% audience. Not bad.
You ready for my number 3, Justin?
Yes, I'm ready.
I'm going to bounce back off you and talk about Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Cool.
This is literally my favorite King Arthur movie as well.
I mean, why not?
Yes, and the sketches I can just quote all day.
Yeah.
The whip swing is hilarious.
This is the one with
Bring out
the
your
troll,
dad is
right?
hilarious. The French taunting like soldier who says your father, no, your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries. You know, I can just quote this movie all day. The Bridge of Death, the killer rabbit. Come on, what kind of rabbit?
The bridge is hilarious, and then also, even though it's so dumb, is the clapping of the
coconuts.
Yeah, it's just
the 4 horses. That's the joke.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Yeah, this is directed by Terry Gilliam and Terry Jones. I think this was Gilliam's first taste of directing.
I believe it's both of theirs as far as feature film goes.
I think you're right, actually.
You can just tell they're having fun in this movie.
Yeah.
On the poster, it says nominated for 26 Oscars. No movie has ever been nominated.
I don't think
there's only 23 categories.
Yeah.
And back then, they only had like 20, so...
maybe they all got nominated for actor and supporting actor.
Another film completely different from some of the other films, which aren't quite the same as this one. It's so stupid.
Yes.
Okay. Code, is this on your list too?
Yeah, it's going to show up on my list.
We'll wait. We'll talk more about it later. What's your number 3?
My number 3, I don't know if either one of you have seen this movie. It is very
great. That would be 3 for 3 on your list.
You've seen The Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
Oh, right. It was four weddings and a funeral was the other one. Yeah.
But it's very highly regarded in the film community. A lot of huge filmmakers love this movie. It's got a Criterion. It's streaming on HBO Max right now. David Fincher was such a huge fan of this movie. He wanted to cast both lead actors in his first movie, Alien 3, but the studio wouldn't let him hire Richard E. Grant because they felt like he was too young to play opposite Sigourney Weaver. So we got Charles Dance instead, which is no slouch. But this is, I think, one of the best British comedies. And it's a shame these two actors didn't do more together because they're great together here. Richard E. Grant and Paul McGann in With Nell and I, about two struggling British actors in 1960s London
Trust
Who
you.
deci-
Trust you to put a film with a Doctor Who actor in.
Well, I mean, it's great. And of course, Paul McGann is a great doctor, even though he only got to do one TV movie. But it's about two out of work British actors who go and stay in one of their uncle's country houses for a weekend, and all hell breaks loose. And the
It's got the
uncle,
uncle from Harry Potter in, doesn't
yes,
it?
is his name Richard Griffiths? Was that his
Yes,
name?
yes,
Yeah,
yes. He used
Griffiths.
to live in Stratford.
He is hilarious in this movie. He might steal the show, but I absolutely love this movie. It's hilarious. It's a bit dark, but I highly recommend it, and you should definitely check it out because David Fincher thinks this movie rules too.
Yes, I will check that out. That is on my list.
Yeah, I've definitely heard about this one a bunch. Ugh. On the trailer on IMDb, she just took a bite of a sandwich and egg yolk just kind of came out.
Uh-huh.
Yuck.
That
Yeah. What?
Yeah, and in that bit, it's not even toasted bread. It's just like a
Yeah,
cold sandwich with a piece of fried egg in it. Like that doesn't even look good. Like, why didn't you
No.
toast the bread?
Yeah.
I prefer toasted bread with sandwiches anyway.
Says two substance abusing unemployed actors retreat to the countryside for a holiday that proves disastrous. Richard E. Grant looks unrecognizable.
Yeah, he's like 30 there.
He was quite typecast as he's been typecast as British snob since.
I'm in. I want to see this.
Yeah, it's great.
We'll have to do
Is it
this
like-
one day for Worth of You movies, Justin.
Yeah, okay. 7.6 on IMDb. Not much on the budget box office wise. We have 1.5 or 1.7 was the gross worldwide. Does not give the budget. And then 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, 94% audience score. So far, all of your movies have been high percentages.
Well, Cody has a good taste in movies. Not saying you don't, because you do.
Again, it's very eccentric.
I like Terminator 2 as well, Justin. You're not the only
What?
person who think I like Terminator 2 as well.
Terminator 2 rules. Who doesn't like
Oh,
Terminator
yeah.
2?
If you don't, just get the
And
F out of here right now.
I'm pretty sure you like Fight Club.
Yeah, I like Fight Club. All right. My number 3, talking Oscars, was won one Oscar, nominated for let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total, including a performance by actress in a supporting role, best picture, costume production, film editing, and adapted screenplay. Just recently in the 2020 Oscars, because this movie came out in 2019, directed by Taika Waititi, and this movie is Jojo Rabbit.
It's a British movie?
Yeah, I would have thought it was New Zealand.
Well, it says British comedies says right here, yeah, set in the UK.
Okay.
Probably
I
made
mean,
by British.
Right there next to Death of Stalin and Life of Brian. So,
Okay.
yeah, I did a little research before I put it on my list, and yeah, I mean, this is a fantastic movie. It's yeah, Taika Waititi directed it. It's fun when he doesn't direct Marvel movies because you can
He's only directed
can-
2.
well,
I was
but,
just fixing to say he's only done 2 Marvel movies.
but he's done 5 movies. Okay, so almost half of them are Marvel. You know,
I think
He's
he's
done 8.
directed 7 films.
which
There's
Boy.
Eagle versus Shark, Boy,
What we do in the shadows.
What We Do in the
no,
Shadows,
no.
Hunt
No,
for the
those
Wilder
first-
People.
Those first 2 do not count. Those
What do you
first
mean,
two.
Demi?
do
Boy
not
is actually
count.
a really good movie.
Yeah, Boy's
No,
great.
we're starting from The Hunt for the Wilder People and on. Okay, when
You're
he's
not
been
counting
known.
What We Do in the Shadows, which is a brilliant satire and now
What
has a
we
highly
do in the
successful
shadows,
TV
I agree with
show.
Cody.
Yeah, that one's counted too. That one's counted too.
That
Yeah.
was before Hunt for the Wilder People.
Okay, Hunt for the Wilder People is way better than What We Do in the Shadows. Though that movie's great.
I'm with Justin on that one.
Oh, I don't know. It's hard.
But anyway, he doesn't have a lot to go by. But this movie is hilarious. It's so freaking funny. I mean, it has a lot of heart and it is sad. But Taika Waititi as Hitler just is one of the greatest parodies that you'll ever see. But
I
also,
see a connection on your list, Justin. You just love Stephen Merchant.
That's right. He
loves
is in
it.
this
Yeah.
movie.
he
I
is
think
in this movie. Yeah.
I think Sam Rockwell steals the show in this, though.
Sam Rockwell's also freaking hilarious in this movie. Thomasin McKenzie, it was great. She was also in The Last Night in Soho. The kid Roman Griffin Davis. Also, Archie Yates.
I love that kid.
He's now the Home Alone kid.
I love that
Disney.
when he's like,
If I
got
was
a
to remake
girlfriend?
Harry Potter, he'd be Harry.
Good for you, JoJo.
And then, of course, Scarlett Johansson was the nominated as supporting role in this movie. Every character was perfectly casted. Every character was perfectly performed. The director got the best performances out of all of his actors. And I don't think that you can try and put anybody else in Adolf's character. Taika was smart in doing that. I mean, he said if anybody is going to try to pay homage to the worst person in the world, might as well be like the director making the most fun of him as he possibly can. So it's a sweet, sweet film. It was my girlfriend's favorite movie of the year that year, and it was in my top 10 to 15 of that year as well. And for it to be a pre-pandemic, it was a good movie, and I love a good Taika Waititi film.
I
That's not a
know I
Marvel
said
movie.
British directors only, but because New Zealand's part of the British Commonwealth, I'll let you off.
I think this
thank
movie's
you.
brilliant. I love it. It's probably the best Nazi parody since Mel Brooks did it. It is probably Taika's probably the only other person that's done it as well. Forgive me, I haven't seen To Be or Not to Be, which I know is another beloved comedy that kind of makes fun of Nazis. But yeah, Taika did a great job at just showing how absurd fascism is, but also telling a very sweet and poignant film, which all his movies have this combination of absurdity, ridiculous humor with a little bit of touching and sweet to them.
This is also one of my favorite Rebel Wilson films.
Oh yeah, she's actually used well in this movie.
I said everyone was casted perfectly and performed beautifully. Budget of $14 million, worldwide gross is $90.3 million, and 7.9 on IMDb, and Rotten Tomatoes gives Jojo Rabbit 80% and 94% of audience score.
I mean, he hasn't directed a lot of movies, but he's kind of blowing up with all these TV shows he's an executive producer of now.
Yeah,
his next film's a football movie, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, when is that ever going to come out? I know they delayed it, and then they had to recast Armie Hammer.
It's coming out next year.
Oh, good.
Oh, Next Goal Wins, yeah.
Yeah, based on the documentary about the Dutch coach getting the Samoan football team to the World Cup.
Michael Fassbender and what's that actress's name?
Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth Moss, yes.
All right. What is your number 2, Rob?
Cody mentioned it earlier. You can't get much British than Paddington Bear. So Paddington 2 is my number 2.
No. I didn't think of this as really a comedy, but
Yeah,
I guess
I
it's
think,
funny. It's just
yeah, funny, heartwarming. I wouldn't call it drama. It's got funny
no,
moments.
it's not a drama. I love this movie. This is like one of those movies you watch when you just don't feel good. Like you're in the dumps. This is the movie you watch because it makes you
I
feel
need to
better.
rewatch both of them because I don't know why, but I don't get it. I don't get it.
What do you mean? What's not to understand?
I was a huge fan of the bear itself when I was a kid. I don't get the movies. I don't understand why people are hailing them and praising them as much as you guys, as not just you guys, but everyone. Everyone is. So I just need to give it a rewatch for both of them and see, because I thought they were fine. I just don't agree with 99% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It wasn't Paddington 2 for a while, like the highest rated movie.
Yeah.
Like they were making jokes about it being higher than Citizen Kane and
Yeah, so that my
stuff.
favorite one was on Mr. Kane doesn't get it that I've overtaken him on Rotten Tomatoes.
Have you guys seen there's a Twitter account where someone has just inserts Paddington into scenes of other
Yes.
movies?
Yeah.
He does it. He's putting it in every day until he forgets. He says, and it's like he's on like 500 days or something.
Yeah, I guess what Pedro Pascal says in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent just makes you want to be a better human being after watching Paddington 2.
It does. I just wish that Hugh Grant character wanted to be a better human being instead of going to prison.
Well, you gotta have antagonists. I don't know if you guys feel this, but every time I watch Paddington 2 or Grand Budapest Hotel, I feel like they would make a good double feature, and it's probably because of the prison uniforms.
Oh yeah.
I was going to do a campaign to get Wes Anderson to direct Paddington 3.
Oh, if you can't get someone British, I guess that's the next best person to direct one, right?
Yes. Yes, definitely. That would be the next person. But yeah, Paddington 2 is the movie I love Hugh Grant for. I love Sally Hawkins, Hugh Bonneville, Peter Capaldi, Jim Broadbent. What's her name? Imelda Stanton.
Isn't
Yeah.
Jessica, what is her name? She's on that TV show with Simon Pegg, Space.
Oh, Jessica Hines.
Isn't she
Jessica
in this?
Hines,
Yeah.
Yes, and Ben Miller from the Johnny English films as well. He's in this too.
Julie
Both
Waters.
the parents from Yesterday are in this as well.
And the
Richard
reason
Awardi's in it as well.
and Ben Whishaw is Paddington because he seemed
Ben
like a more.
Whishaw is the quintessential Paddington. I don't know how Paddington would sound if it was Colin Firth.
Well, you know why they rechanged it is because they felt like his voice wasn't whimsical enough for children. They felt like it was too. I guess
Ben Wishaw's voice is the iconic.
They thought that was a better choice for children.
But I don't like the Peter Rabbit films because James Corden's not the right voice for Peter Rabbit.
Well, it's also
James Corden's not the right person for anything. Like he just needs to go away.
I'm glad, Justin, that you have proved to me that Americans have had enough of James Corden because we don't want him back.
Oh,
I didn't even like him when he first opened. Is like anything. I was like, oh,
I don't think I've liked him since that Doctor Who episode he did.
Didn't you guys? Have you guys ever heard of his sitcom over here, Gavin and Stacey?
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
That's probably the only good thing he's done.
Yeah, we've just found him annoying because he's in all the musicals, and we don't know why.
He ruined Into the Woods. Ruined.
I liked him in The Prom.
He's just being himself. Yeah.
How can he be playing himself in that movie when he's not gay and not American?
Well, it's just a gay American version of James Gordon.
Paddington 2 has our highest rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but 7.8 on IMDb. Budget of $40 million, worldwide grosses $227.9 million. As I mentioned earlier, 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, 88% for the audience, which is probably where I sit.
I'm a bit sad Paul King's not doing the third one,
He's
but
doing Wonka.
yeah. Yep.
Oh. Paddington 1 only got 97%.
Only.
80%. Well,
Paddington 2 is kind of the Terminator 2 of Paddington.
It is the Terminator 2 of Paddington movies.
I don't know. Nicole Kidman's in the first one. Again, I'm gonna rewatch it and we'll see. But Paddington 2 is on HBO Max if anybody wants to see it.
It is.
Nice. So, Cody,
all right.
what's your silver?
Oh, well, my silver is a bit of a cheat here. And it was hard for me to separate.
It's not a Woody Allen movie set in Britain, is it?
God, no. No. It's only a cheat because it's more than one movie, but I couldn't separate these movies because even though they are not technically a plot-driven trilogy because they are different types of movies and they're different characters, but they're so connected with the symmetry and the setups. And even though it started out as a joke, they're just all three.
Don't they call it a trilogy?
They do, but it wasn't initially the director's plan to do a so-called trilogy. It just kind of happened as a joke. Like, he's going to do his version of the Colors trilogy, and he does. And they are all three master classes. They're comedies, but they are master classes of how to do each genre that they're playing with. And I would argue that all three of them are better genre films in each genre they're doing than some straight of those movies of that genre. And that's Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg's Cornetto trilogy. I mean, all three of these movies.
I talk about one of them later.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think I know which one's going to make your list, but I couldn't do it. I love all three of these movies. They're great for different reasons.
Even though the third one isn't written the best.
Well, I was gonna say. I mean, you know that the third one's not as good as.
Well, here's the thing, guys. Yeah, The World's End doesn't have maybe the rewatchability of Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. But I wouldn't say their writing isn't off. It's just a much more mature film, and it definitely plays with more repeated viewings.
It does feel a little bit messy at times.
Well, here's the thing. It was written after Wright found out one of his producing partners had cancer, and that's why he went to make this movie before he finished Ant-Man. And it's also written by someone approaching 40 instead of someone in their late 20s or early 30s. So it's a very much different viewpoint in their lives than Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz is. So, yeah, it doesn't have the rewatchability and it maybe isn't as tight as those two films are, but it's still a brilliantly made film.
And you prefer it when Nick's the comic and Simon's the straight man?
Well, they're both comic, but I liked that they tried to do something different. And
well, no, I appreciate it. It just didn't work for them.
I think it works fine. It's just a different movie from the other two, and I think people wanted it to be a little bit closer to the other two movies, but it's a differently made film, and it's still a really well-made movie. In fact, Edgar Wright hasn't made a bad movie, and so even though this might be, to some people, his weakest film, it's still better than 90% of other people's best movie. And they're just brilliant films, and I love them.
Nice. Well, since I don't know which one he's going to talk about, I'll hold off on this trilogy. Yeah, I would say Hot Fuzz is probably leaning towards my favorite out of the three.
That's the one I like to watch the most. Though I think I've seen Shaun of the Dead the most out of all three of them. That could be one that it's the oldest, and because it always is kind of a rewatchability around Halloween time. But I think if I had to choose between the three, Hot Fuzz would be my favorite.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen The World's End the most for some reason.
Really, I've only seen it 3 times, but I like it more each time I watch it.
Only 3.
Well, I guess I can't even count how many times I've seen Shaun of the Dead, so it's been logged on Letterboxd 6 times.
Jeez. Great. Well, we'll get more into that in a minute. All right. My number 2 is also Oscar bound, just killing it. 1 win and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 nominations. Woof. Actually, it's part of the same year as Jojo Rabbit. And this one I just liked a little bit more because of the performances by the 3 young ladies who star in it. And the 3 of them are Olivia Colman, Emma Stone, and Rachel Weisz. This is Yorgos Lanthimos, The Favorite.
I know it's the year before.
No, it's 2019.
Yeah, year before.
I thought it was 2018.
2018.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. It is saying 2018.
It was my favorite out of the nominations that year.
Yeah, it was your favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie is just fantastic. I mean, going into it, you kind of wouldn't seem like it would be a comedy, but it definitely has comedy written all over it. From pratfalls to Olivia Colman just being out of her mind. She did win for Best Actress with other nominations for Rachel Weisz and Emma Stone. And that just tells you how great every performance was in this. Practical everything in this movie, even to the lighting. I mean, filming in candlelight can't be easy for even like photos that we do now here, like in 2022. But imagine like trying to just be so practical and go back to the actual time period where that's what they did. They just filmed in candlelight, and yeah, it's pretty amazing, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great story. It's a different story than what we normally hear about a queen, but yeah, it's a lot of fun and one of my favorite movies of that year, for sure.
I think
you guys like this one?
Yeah, I think besides the 3 performances by all these amazing ladies, I think Nicholas Hoult is also hilarious in this movie.
Yeah, I think that's why he's on that show The Great now with
Elle
Fanning. British comedy legend Mark Gatiss.
Yeah, Mark Gatiss is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys like Yorgos Lanthimos?
Oh,
I've only seen this in The Lobster.
You've not seen Killing of a Sacred Deer, Cody?
No.
Right, when we finish filming, go and watch Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a good film. 7.5 on IMDb. $15 million was the budget. 95.9 is the worldwide gross. And the Rotten Tomatoes score for The Favorite. Oh, come on. Come on. 93%, 70% audience score, though. I guess the audience did not enjoy as much.
It's hard to know where I balance out because I wouldn't say I'm a critic and say I'm a reviewer. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
This isn't a movie for a mainstream audience.
I never went to school to learn film criticism. I've just learned off the top of my head doing it.
Yeah, that's a review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
don't think I'm a critic at all.
if you watch enough movies, you kind of train yourself. It's like you're making your own film school by just watching a lot of film.
Exactly.
Well, it's one of the main reasons why I watch so much is to learn, and I bring it to sets and to my acting and stuff, like it's
still need to learn
necessary.
about film music.
But I mean, you guys liking this movie so much shows you're not just your average Joe movie watcher, because you just said, look at the audience score. And like I said, this is not a movie for a mainstream audience. Like, it's a little
No.
bit absurd and dark humor. It's not a movie I would recommend to anybody.
Even though it's a masterpiece?
To you, but
great.
to my cousin or my uncle, they would probably think this is dumb. This is not, like, you gotta gauge the movie. There are some movies you could recommend to
what about
almost
people like what about old ladies that love period dramas? Would you recommend it to them?
Yeah, I would probably recommend it to them. They would at least give it a shot. They may not like it, but they would.
Well, because of the disturbing kind of stuff in it.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, you just got to engage each movie and see, like, because not everybody's like us that'll watch just about anything. Some people, like, they're not gonna like that movie.
No, and some people just don't fancy films.
That's true. Some people are just like, nah, I don't really care. I just want to eat my popcorn and be entertained.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's why it's subjective. This is all subjective.
Exactly. There's no scorecard sheet on movies.
I'm ready for another Yorgos movie.
Poor Things is coming out soon with Emma, Willem Dafoe, Rummy,
Mark Ruffalo.
The Rummy Show, and Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, wow. That's a good cast.
Margaret Qualley.
Oh, she's in it?
Yeah, she was in.
She's the daughter of my number 5 pick.
Once Upon a Time.
Born the same year as you.
Yes, she's my age.
And she's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That she is.
That's where I first saw her.
Yes. All right. Well, which one out of the Cornetto trilogy is your number one, Rob?
Number one, it's a film that I've watched countless times. It's a movie I could just put on now, shut my brain off, and just have a nice big laugh. This is a parody of action movies. This is the second movie of the Cornetto trilogy, The Chocolate Cornetto Hot Fuzz.
Yep, yeah. I knew this was it. I knew this is the one. And like I said, if I had to pick one, this would probably be my favorite one to rewatch. I think it's a comedy, but I think it might be one of the best action movies ever made. It's certainly better than some of the last American action movies I've seen in the last decade. And Timothy Dalton is just comic gold in this movie.
Steals the show. So does Jim Broadbent, Olivia Colman, Bill Bailey.
Also has Stephen Merchant in it.
And has Stephen Merchant in it.
Who?
The Bristol, the guy from Bristol with glasses and blonde hair, super tall.
Oh, the
P.I.
director of
Stinker.
Fighting With My Family. Cody, have you seen the Raid movie?
The Raid? Yeah, I've seen both the Raid movies. They're friggin' amazing.
I brought both
this
of them on
is
DVD.
Better action than that?
Well, The Raid's not an American action movie. I said better than
American.
Most
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no. But I mean, I would put it up there with this because it's definitely Edgar Wright is a student of cinema, and I think he's a much healthier version of a Quentin Tarantino. And I think he might be a better filmmaker.
Yeah, so with Hot Fuzz, Nicholas Angel is this big London cop. He's transferred to this little village, and he starts to realise that these murders going on. They're starting to get covered up, and he's got to investigate what's happening. And what I do love about this film is that he goes off thinking that it's one big conspiracy to build a retail park, but actually it's a good twist that throws you off it all.
I love the twist.
A great red herring, a brilliant red herring.
I love the twist and their excuses for everything they do. And I've never seen it, but this reminds me a little bit of The Wicker Man too.
Yeah, a little bit of the Wicker Man.
But yeah, like he definitely studied all the great action movies and made his own version of it.
So, what would you rather watch, Cody? Point Break or Bad Boys 2?
Point Break every day. I'm sorry, Catherine Bigelow is a much better action director than Michael Bay.
Yeah, Point Break is amazing. Totally.
I love Point
Have you
Break.
guys seen Fistful of Fingers, Edgar Wright?
No, I haven't
No,
actually.
don't watch it. It's not very good. It's on YouTube, I think.
It looks like it was just made of him and his mates.
It basically that's what it was, and I forget how long it
Oh.
took him to edit it, but like I think they just now started releasing copies of it. Yeah, it's nowhere near what quality of filmmaking he would go on to do. I guess that little bit of television work really helped him because yeah, ever since then he's been
And
pretty
music
great.
videos.
And I
Yeah.
love Last Night in Soho, as you guys know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
Except for that last 25 minutes is bad.
I love
Hot
the
Fuzz-
twist, and I thought that was a great last role for Diana Rigg.
The old lady, yeah. 7.8 on IMDb for Hot Fuzz.
Should be at least
box
9.0. Should be in the top 250.
8 million euro, 80.7 worldwide gross. Rotten Tomato scores 91%. Audience score 89. By the way, The World's End is 6.9. $20 million budget, 46 worldwide. World's End 89% and 71 for Rotten Tomatoes. And Shaun of the Dead 7.9 with a budget of 4 million, and then worldwide gross is 30 million. And its Rotten Tomato scores 92 with a 93% audience. Overall, pretty good.
So what's your number one, Cody?
I think you guys already know what it is, but I mean, when you said British comedies, I couldn't think of anything. These are comedy legends, not just in England, but in the world. They are so influential to just the genre itself. I don't think there would be Saturday Night Live without these guys. I don't think there would be the Muppets without these guys. And this is one of the most
South Park or Family Guy or any American show I've watched.
Basically, yes. This is one of the most quotable, rewatchable movies. I could watch it and then end and then rewatch it again and just say every line. It's absolutely hilarious. And I'm glad it was on your list because I wasn't sure how the Brits feel about this because it's making fun of British folklore. But it's definitely the most popular amongst us Americans. And yeah, it's Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And it's, you know, it's a masterpiece.
I had it at 5. Rob had it at 3. Code had it at 1.
Had a feeling this be Cody's number one.
Yeah. On this trailer here, it says historically inaccurate.
At least it's honest about it.
Well, I mean, you know, it's also based off a fictional character. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you which thing's the best. They're all great, you know, the whole counting of the hand grenade, the whole wedding not going well stuff, and all the nuns at that one place with Michael Palin's character, the Black Knight. I mean, everything. And Michael Palin again arguing about politics, and then, you know, well, that's not a way to start a government structure. Like, just everything.
I didn't vote for you.
Yeah, well, you don't vote for king. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? And then like, oh, he must be a king. Why is that? He doesn't have shit all over him.
Yeah,
it's a classic.
It is a classic.
Unfortunately, did not do good in the box office. $229,000 was its budget. Worldwide gross is 1.9. However, I think this is the highest rating on IMDb, 8.2, and a 95 or 97% Rotten with 95% audience score.
There is a lot of midnight.
350 then.
There's a lot of midnight showings of this movie.
Yeah,
that has gone on for 4 decades now.
Ooh.
I guess 5, right? Yeah, it's almost 50 years old. God.
This one and
going to work. I'm going to campaign that we show it.
This one and the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I think, are like the biggest midnight movies, and maybe The Room now.
Oh, The Room is huge. Like,
Room.
there's a place in Dallas. They go back and forth between The Room and Rocky Horror almost every month.
Yeah.
Right. Let's hear Mr. Doyle's number 1.
Okay. Very briefly mentioned by both of you. Very briefly. But if you know me, then you know I love one of the main actors in this movie. It is a rom-com. It is in the UK there. And I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy asking him to love her. And that is from one of the greatest actresses to ever live, and that's Miss Julia Roberts, co-starring with Mr. Hugh Grant in Notting Hill.
That'd be number 1.
This I've seen this movie a bunch of times, but to me, Rhys Ifans is the one who is the comedy.
Actually.
Ifans, and he's the one who steals the show in this movie. I mean, he's so weird and so raunchy and funny, and I mean, it's kind of like we have these people in our lives. Like we have this character in our lives. You know, everyone kind of has a friend who's like that, and I think to me it was just like so great. But this is just about a book owner who gets noticed by a famous actress who's Julie Roberts, and they kind of, you know, fall for each other. And Rice is his roommate, and it just is a lot of fun. You know, I just want to be Hugh Grant because who wouldn't just love Julia Roberts to fall in love with you? This is like her prime in 1999. And yeah, this is Hugh Grant just doing what he does, which is just be the lovable guy who's from another country with the accent. You know, he does that really well, straight man stuff. So, this is one of my all-time favorites, like romantic comedies, and I've seen it a ton of times, and it is from the same creators as 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Just haven't seen that movie. So, anyway, it's my number 1. I love Julia, and she can do no wrong, and she does no wrong in Notting Hill. Also starring, Richard McCabe and
Hugh Bonneville.
Yeah, very charming, very sweet.
Emma Chambers is great. Yeah, and
it's like the ultimate male fantasy, right? You know, you're just a normal dude, and the most famous woman in the world falls in love with you. I don't know if you remember this, Justin, but the big news of when this movie came out in 1999 is that it beat Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, at the box office that weekend.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks after Phantom Menace came out, and Notting Hill was number 1. I remember
Notting Hill's opening weekend. I thought you meant the same weekend as Star Wars.
No, it came out. No, it came out like a week or 2
This was nominated for 3 Golden Globes: Best Musical or Comedy, Best Actor for Grant, and Best Actress for Roberts, or both musical and comedy as well.
Yeah, the budget was $42 million. Worldwide gross is $363 million.
I have beautiful dogs surrounding me at the moment.
No, that's cool. I think that's the most of all the movies that we've talked about today. 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, 79% audience score, 100% in my heart.
To pop.
All right. Let's count them down. Rob, what's
My
your
number
number 5?
5 is Four Weddings and a Funeral.
My number 5 is Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
I have Monty Python and the Holy Grail at my number 5.
My number 4 is Snatch.
My number 4 is A Fish Called Wanda.
My number 4 is one that I'll retire from my top 5s because I put it on different things. It's Fighting with My Family.
My number 3 is... What was the shoot? I forgot my number 3.
Monty Python.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Sorry, guys.
My number 3 is With Nail and I.
My number 3 is Jojo Rabbit.
My number 2 is Paddington 2.
My number 2 is Edgar Wright's Cornetto trilogy, which is made up of Shaun of the Dead flavored strawberry, Hot Fuzz flavored chocolate, and The World's End flavored mint chocolate.
What? Where's vanilla?
Well, isn't the hot fuzz? Well, it's because the vanilla is like the base, right, Robbie? And
Yeah,
then
the
it's just the
vanilla's the base.
flavors.
You've been to the UK, haven't you? Tried a cornetto?
It's basically
No.
like our drumstick, but they have more flavors than we do.
Well, it sounds like Neapolitan, but Neapolitan strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla.
Well,
Why
they
would you
all
put
have
mint
vanilla.
in there?
They all have vanilla in them. They're just different flavors you can buy. So, like,
Well,
you can get
vanilla
it
is
with. So you
the
get
best
so
flavor.
the vanilla's the center, but sometimes it has like a strawberry flavoring on top, or a chocolate, or the chocolate mint.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it like a creamsicle or something?
that's like our drumsticks.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You know how the drumstick has the chocolate on top, but it's mostly vanilla?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Dang, that sounds pretty good, actually. And then the
Yeah.
fudge at the bottom.
So
My number 2 is The Favorite.
My favorite British comedy ever is Hot Fuzz.
and my favorite British comedy of all time is Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
And my favorite British comedy is Notting Hill, which nobody else would ever say ever.
For love.
There's a lot of people that love that movie, Justin. It's a very good movie.
That's so good. No, I know. I love it. It's a great movie. Nobody can deny that it's not. It's a great movie, but yeah, maybe British comedy.
So going off to record, my recommendations for this week are both Fisherman's Friends films. Make sure you check them out.
Oh, we should do Also Rans real quick.
Yes, also Rants, Phantom of the Open, obviously. Lock, Stock, and
that's a
Two
good one.
Smoking Barrel. Let's have a look.
I had Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit. That was going to be
Were-Rabbit.
I know it's not really a comedy, but it kind of came up on some lists. Was The Kingsman? I love that movie.
No, they're comedies.
I could have had that. Also,
Yesterday.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay.
The Johnny
Bean?
Life of Brian, Attack the Block.
I love Attack the Block. Grimsby, the one with Sacha Baron Cohen, and I could have said Ali G in the House. The In-Betweeners movie, the first one, not the second one.
Death at a Funeral.
Death
Oh
at a
yeah,
Funeral,
the
British
Frank Oz one. Also
Son of Rambo, Magicians,
About Time.
The League of Gentlemen's Apocalypse.
I need to see About Time.
Bridget Jones's Diary, The Parole Officer.
The Full Monty.
Yeah.
The Full Monty.
About a Boy. Would you guys consider American Werewolf in London a comedy, or is that more a horror film?
No, it's on this list I'm looking at on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Oh, Brazil,
which I
in
would
Bruges.
normally. In Bruges, Time Bandits.
What do you guys think about Frank? I didn't think
I need to see Frank. Paul.
a UK
I like
movie.
Frank. It's weird.
I like Frank a lot, but it's
yeah,
it's not a UK movie, right?
Irish.
Yeah. What about Train Spotting? Is that a comedy? That's Scottish though, right?
Yeah, it's part of the UK.
Hmm.
That'll work.
What else is? I just saw a good one in my. Black
Well,
Bull's
we
really funny. Vince Vaughn's in that film.
we were supposed to do this and still haven't seen it yet, but I will. In the Loop.
Oh,
With
that's good. Yeah. Just for Peter Capaldi alone.
Yeah, I love Peter Capaldi. And
There's
obviously, I'm not into them, but there is a gang of movies called the Carry On films in the UK. You guys might have heard of them.
No.
Yeah, there's a collection of comedy movies called the Carry On movies.
What about This Is Spinal Tap?
Oh, was that? Well, I mean, they're not really. It's Americans pretending to be a British band. I think
Yeah,
that's more an
that
American
doesn't really
comedy.
count.
Okay. All right. Okay. And Rob, you said you're recommending Fisherman's Friends?
And the second one as well.
One for all for one.
Yes.
What? Which one do you like more?
The new one that's came out. Yes, the new one.
All right.
That's came
Cody,
out.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 2 recommendations. One, it's been out for a while, and I'm sure most people have already seen it, or it's already been recommended. I don't know, but it is streaming on Hulu. But that's a shame. It should have been playing in theaters because it's one of the best blockbusters to come out this summer, and that is Prey, the new Predator movie. It
Great choice.
probably is the best Predator movie ever made. Question mark, maybe? I don't know. I guess depend on your nostalgia for the original, but this one has a little bit more of a story, a little bit more relatable of a protagonist, and I just like its approach. I think Dan Trachtenberg is 2 for 2 on making franchise entry movies and making them extremely better than they have any right to be.
what was the first one?
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah, I love Prey. As of right now, it will be on my top 10 for the year. I think it's
currently,
a
me
great movie.
too, but it's going to be a stacked fall, looks like.
Nice.
So
Nice. I'd like
God,
to
I hope so, because the rest of the year sucked balls.
Top Gun Maverick was great, and
And
you guys haven't some decision to leave yet, so save that comment for another day.
And then my older recommendation, it was a first watch for me. My favorite podcast is doing the films of Stanley Kubrick, and I just watched Paths of Glory for the first time.
Okay, incredible movie.
Is it an incredible movie that is not really a war movie, even though it's technically maybe the best World War I movie ever made?
1917, mate.
Well, maybe. But this movie is more about like how absurd war is and how ridiculous our justice system and really
That's basically what Full Metal Jacket's about too.
And it's also about middle management kind of too, and like where you are stuck when you're like kind of not really the boss, but you're still in charge of people and you have to try and be a good person even though people don't care about lives or they just care about productivity. But it's a really maybe the most human film Stanley Kubrick ever made. It's worth a watch. And it's got a great performance by Kirk Douglas.
Oh, he's incredible. Justin recommends.
1957. My movie is out on VOD right now. I don't know if it's worth $20, but if it gets down to like the $6 or $7 range, I'd say it's worth it. It's called Vengeance, and it's written and directed by BJ Novak, also starring BJ Novak and Issa Rae and Ashton Kutcher. And it's about a brother of one of his old flames calls him and says that she's dead, and he wants him to come to the funeral. And while he's out there, he realizes that the death was a little bit wonky. So he investigates it more because he thinks it could be good for a podcast. And I loved it. I thought it was really interesting. I think the acting was pretty solid. I mean, seeing Ashton Kutcher back is great. And I think Issa Rae is always solid.
This is
yeah,
why
it was just
we need to do my episode idea and do our top 5 favorite films starring actors from The Office.
Oh. Okay.
interesting.
Oh.
Huh.
God, I gotta think of who have been in movies
But
besides
but
Steve
also
Carell.
if you only, well, and John Krasinski and Emily or
All right.
Rainn Wilson.
well, Will Ferrell.
movies.
Will Ferrell was one. He was in that show for a little bit.
That's right.
I mean, it's possible.
I'm only counting main and recurring cast members, not.
Well,
Oh,
then
he was
James
recurring.
Spader counts.
Yeah, no. Will Ferrell would count. James Spader counts.
Yeah, James
Israeli
Spader.
Lady counts.
Is it just the one episode Jim Carrey's in?
Yeah, he's only in one
Yeah.
episode.
Well, he wouldn't count. Sorry,
Does Will
yeah, I
Ferrell?
know.
How many episodes did Will Ferrell do?
He comes back. He's like at the beginning of a whole season, like the first half of the season.
Okay.
Because
I knew it
that's
was
the
a pretty
years-
short
it
arc.
was the-
Idris Elba showed up
Yeah,
in The
Idris Elba.
Office.
It was right after Will did it. Right after Carell left,
Steve-
because
yeah.
somebody had to try to keep the show, popular. But who's the Misery lady? She's in
Kathy
it too.
Bates.
Yeah, Kathy Bates. Yeah. She's also in it a bunch. So, that's not a bad idea. But yeah, I recommend Vengeance. I think it was just solid. I mean, yeah, I thought it was interesting. Something we don't see a lot these days, and I think BJ Novak did a pretty good job directing.
Nice.
All right, where can they find you, Cody?
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at FilmNerd85. You can also check out my YouTube page of Video Store Rejects. There's also a Facebook page and a Twitter page.
What are you guys talking movies lately? Your main focus is directors, filmographies. What are you talking about recently?
Well, we've been on a bit of a hiatus, but we are still doing Coen Brothers and Ridley Scott. Not sure which episodes I'll put out next. Just depends on scheduling, because I had to reschedule.
Needs to do an episode with both of us on Monday, Justin.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Great, Rob.
And you can find me at robbiesofeescott.uk. You can find me on this YouTube channel, Robbie Fleming. I'm back on TikTok, doing TikTok videos on my first time takes. And I think that's about it. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, worth of you movies on all the things. Trying to post daily. It's been happening pretty good. Trying to see, movies. And I have a lot of backed up ones that I will be talking about. Easter Sunday, DC League of Super Pets, and Maverick all came out on VOD yesterday. So there's some movies to watch coming out. I do want to see. What's going on in Tejas?
Oh, it's an Amber Alert.
Yeah.
Amber Alert.
Is this okay? So who? Car? Kid?
Child? Yeah.
Yeah. That's too bad.
Amber Alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
definitely.
we call when a child goes missing or is abducted.
Ouch.
Because I think the first child's name was Amber, maybe.
Probably makes sense.
Yeah. Because when I think Amber, I think like a fire.
I mean, when I hear that noise, I think, oh yeah, a storm's coming, but your phone doesn't differentiate it. It just sends that out.
You guys have had some lately, right?
Yeah, we've had some storms. Yeah, I know you guys are
in the rain earlier.
I know you guys are probably jealous because you guys are in endless drought.
Yeah, can we get some water, please?
I would gladly give you water if I could. I would take the rain and shake it all in Southern California.
Yeah, we get timed on our showers, you know.
Dang. Oh, that stinks.
I mean, it's mostly a joke, but they do put sensors on our stuff to make sure because of the drought. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, this was fantastic. Yeah. Please like and comment down below for your favorite British
And subscribe to my
comedies.
YouTube channel to get more on the Fleming Film Show.
Yes. Subscribe to all of ours because it's all
Yes.
worth it. It's all worth it. Yeah, we'll come up with, if you have topic ideas down below, tell us that. And we'll be back next week sometime with another topic.
Yes.
Until next time.
Until next time. Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.